What's going on, guys? So I'm here once again at the Dallas NARBC Reptile Expo here in Dallas. And at an expo like this, you're gonna see some amazing ball pythons, amazing crested geckos, but what is often overlooked here are the oddball reptiles that not a lot of people really pay much attention to, but they're here and they're awesome. And in this bonus video, I'm gonna walk around this expo and I'm gonna show you guys some of the oddball reptiles that can be found right here at the Dallas NARBC Expo. I'm Dave Kaufman, and these are my Reptile Adventures. All right, so this is Brett at Sunfire Exotics. You've got a real oddball here. Tell us what we've got here.
It is a Sunbeam Snake.
That sure is. And you can definitely see why that's a Sunbeam Snake. Look at that iridescence. Now, these guys are native to Southeast Asia. We were finding these in Thailand. These guys are so awesome. And this is a big old female.
Yeah.
And they don't get much bigger than this. These are just beautiful snakes. Look at that iridescence on her. These are just absolute rainbow snakes. And so now you're working with these. You're breeding these.
Yeah. So my wife is keeping, I think we got 2 or 3 pairs now. I happened to see this one and I had to have it.
Absolutely.
It's just a massive female.
So now when it comes to breeding Sunbeam snakes, what's your process?
Right now, it's the luck of the draw. You know, I haven't known a whole lot of people to actually do it in captivity.
That's right.
So we're going to give it a shot, and it's going to be a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, if you want a hint, do you want a hint?
Yeah.
Okay. I charge for my advice. So.
Any advice is good advice.
Yeah, I charge Sunbeam snakes for my advice.
I think I got a baby of it.
Yeah. Temperature fluctuations don't really matter because in Thailand, the temperature stays pretty much the same year round. Wet season and dry season. So simulate a wet season and a dry season. These guys will breed for you, no problem.
Awesome.
So like 6 months of rain, 6 months of dry. They're really actually kind of easy to breed. And if people unlocked that, I think we'd see a lot more captive bred ones.
So.
But that is just absolutely gorgeous and one of the oddball snakes that you're going to find here at the Dallas NARBC. So this is Lana at ReptiPets. You may remember Lana from one of the videos that I shot at Arlington where you won the Rattle-On Award for the best new breeder. Here you are. Look at this. We've got this whole table of yours. You have grown so much since then, and you have some really odd reptiles here. Like some of the coolest reptiles at this show. These guys are one of them. Look at that. So tell us all about this guy.
So this is actually a black tree skink. They're similar to the emerald tree skink. They come from Australia and the Solomon Islands. And I kind of did a little bit more research on them, and I figured out that no one actually has done a care video on them ever in the history of YouTube, because I went looking, and so it's like we're so excited that we've been able to personally take care of them, and we've had pretty good success with them. So they do need about a 40-gallon tank. A front opening would be the best, just because they do need a place to climb, but they also love to burrow like all skinks do. They are mainly insectivores. They do like a little bit higher humidity, but other than that, they're pretty cool. They're pretty well tempered as well, but they aren't one to be handled as much. But if you have a calmer one, they're not going to hurt you. They're not going to bite. Their main defense is running away.
Gotcha. So we all know about the green tree skinks and how awesome they are, but we very, very rarely ever see black tree skinks. And these are awesome. And they're only priced at $100, which is, I think, pretty cheap. All right, so we're going to put these back. We've got some other cool stuff to take a look at, like these guys.
So the flying gecko, or as you call them, the parachute
gecko, right. So these are native to Southeast Asia. These guys are so fun to find out in the wild. Tell us all about these guys.
So we're actually starting to breed these guys, and we have, I think, 3 or 4 eggs in incubation right now. Here in a couple months, I think it's 2 months exactly, we will have our first babies. So these guys are pretty cool, but if you're not used to something very quick, it can be terrifying. Seeing they do actually glide, and they can glide pretty far, and they are very quick. But they sometimes will bite. I've been bitten a couple of times, but it does not hurt whatsoever. The main thing that you've got to worry about is them running away from you.
That's right. But they are so cool. And These guys are, you know, if you go to Thailand,
Yes.
these guys are, you know, like
Everywhere.
almost everywhere. And
Yes.
it's so cool to see them because you spook them and you actually get to see them jump and glide through the air. And, and that really makes it difficult to catch them, but, you know, it's cool to watch. We have a non-reptile thing that's really cool here, but just real quick, we've got these cave geckos over here. Those are super cool. And we've got lots and lots of frogs over here, blue tongues. Look at this big old night anole. I love night anoles.
They're awesome. They eat a lot.
Yes,
They're
they do.
Hungry little guys.
Yes, they do. And then over here, we've got like tons of arachnids. But right here, we've got something cool. You got to show us this.
So this is a devil's flower mantis. So they're pretty rare to find in the U.S., especially captive bred. We are working with this species right now to captive breed it for ourselves. Oh, come on.
Oh, look at this.
So they actually get really big as adults, and they do jump. They're one of the species that we deal with that's pretty good about jumping.
Oh, that is so cool.
They're pretty similar to your orchids, but they do like a little bit higher humidity and higher temperatures. So that's the main thing you have to worry about these. But I think our first species we ever started out with was actually the ghost, and we have a couple ooths that are going to hatch out here soon. So we're excited to be working with this species. We're trying to work with a whole bunch more that aren't really kept here in the U.S. The next species that is on our list is the dragon mantis, which those are amazing.
Those are really cool. So it is so cool to see how far you've come from the first time that I met you and gave you the Rattle On Award for the best new breeder. Now, this isn't just all you do. So we were talking and you told me that you're 17 years old now.
Yes.
And you're already teaching classes.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I actually go to Mumford High School, but I also teach at our veterinary science program. I teach our biology department to show evolution, because all of these animals here have gone through different stages of evolution and adaptations, because you can't just have one thing in one area because everything changes. That's
Right.
It's just how it works. And so it's like I teach with the biology and show evolution and adaptation. Our veterinary science program, I've been working with them so that they will have a better idea of how to work with exotics, because we don't have as many exotic vets as we truly need. And so we're growing and helping everyone learn. Because it's like I teach at Ripley High School, and they want to be one of the first exotic ag departments, so they're going to be working with a bunch of exotic plants that we're helping them get their hands on. And then they want me to try and come at least once a week so that they can really start diving into the reptiles real hard and get everything they need to know.
And you're doing this at 17 years old.
Yes.
That is spectacular. You have, I said this before, you have the brightest future ahead of you, and you're
Thank
doing
you.
it. You're living it. It is awesome. It is so great to see you. So great to see some of your animals. Best of luck to you. And
Thank you.
Next time I'm down, we're doing a follow-up to see where you're going to go and what you're doing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, so I've known this dude since 2008, and now Dave's a customer.
That's right.
And a friend.
That's right.
And an awesome dude.
That's
And he has this glorious mane of hair. And Dave loves Ship Your Reptiles.
Yes.
Because-
And with the amount of money that I save on using Ship Your Reptiles, I can afford some really nice shampoo. So for all your reptile shipping needs, visit shipyourreptiles.com or visit the link in the description below. Sorry, they don't sell shampoo. All right, so speaking of odd here at the Dallas NARBC, we have Ryan McVeigh from VivTech, who not only does some really good lighting, some really cool lighting.
Try.
That I absolutely lose. That I actually use in my reptile room myself. Can I have my money now?
You better.
Okay, good. But you have something really odd and really cool. Look at this guy.
Yeah, this is the first dominant melanism gene in Chahua.
That
This has been proven over 4 generations that have been outcrossed. It is absolutely a dominant melanism.
That is amazing. So this is not fired up.
No, when he is
That-
fired up, he's black.
That looks like a silhouette cutout that you did in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Right?
I was walking around Tinley with him on this shirt, and I was talking to people from 2 feet away, and they didn't realize he was there until they saw his eye.
Wow. All right, so that is a very odd Chahua. And are you ready to sell them yet? Or?
I am selling one this
One.
year. One.
And how much are we charging?
25,000
25,000 Canadian?
US.
US.
But I am absolutely positive, based on the fact that most of the reptiles that have dominant melanism, there's a super form.
Right.
I'm very sure that there's a super form to this, and once that shows up, if it looks like what I hope it does, 25,000 will be a steal.
Uh-huh. That's a game changer in not only Chahuas, but in all New Caledonian
Absolutely.
geckos.
Like even with the leechies, the melanism in leechies, they get dark, but they don't turn black.
Okay, that is something amazing.
And this is all derived from F1 and F2 pure mainlands.
So, tell us the process. You just found 2 dark ones?
No, so I got a male, and he looked basically like those. He was neat, but he didn't look too outrageous.
Yeah.
He got a little dark. And then he would produce once in a while cool dark babies. But when you show anybody, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen dark Chahua."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen them too." These just didn't seem anything different, but they weren't coming out like this. So then I got out of geckos because of time, and I held back one really dark, really pretty one. Last one that I hatched, and years later decided, I want to see if it's line bred. Can I make a darker Chahua? Hence the Black Chahua project. And then over time realized it's actually a dominant form of melanism that I was getting 50-50 results from breeding, and I was outcrossing it to unrelated females every generation and getting the same results.
That's crazy. That's crazy beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish I had $25,000.
Dude, this one, his mom had a reproductive crash and was going to pass away, so we had to put her down. Erica cut the eggs out of them, and he hatched from that, and he was melanistic.
Holy... why didn't you tell me that? We've been friends for 100 years.
Right?
And you didn't call me and tell me any of this?
It was a little bit of a crazy night.
Yeah.
It was actually at Zilla. You guys ask Bill, he was watching me. He's like, "Dude, she looks awful. She was fine 3 days ago."
Oh, man.
And she went from healthy to just crumbly in days. So we put her down, and then Erica got the eggs out, and we just crossed our fingers, and we had a melanistic and a non-melanistic. I still would have had Dad, but that was that next generation. It would have been us a couple of years back again had that happened.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so there's that. Let's do a little plug for VivTech here.
Absolutely.
If you are in the market for some really innovative lighting, UV lighting, come to VivTech.
Absolutely.
VivTechProducts.com.
Absolutely, VivTechProducts.com, and definitely check out the So look, we have halogen lighting. Halogen has been phased out in the US. You can't buy it anymore, but we brought it in, and we brought it in at like a normal halogen price, not an insane pet store price. So even pet stores can carry these for 10 to 12 bucks instead of 30.
Love it. I mean, you guys are the innovators in reptile lighting. But this is a video on odd reptiles, and you've got another one right over here.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite snakes in the world. Look at how beautiful that is.
Oh, we got to open that up so
Holy
you can see her. Here.
All right, so this is one of the oddest snakes you are going to find not only here at the Dallas Expo, but anywhere in the world. That is a tentacled snake. Look at how cool that is. So with tentacled snakes, you have those little appendages on the nose there, and these guys live in Southeast Asia. They live in really murky, dark, dank, polluted water, but those little appendages on his nose right there work as electromagnetic sensors. And this guy picks up fish movements in that dark water like that with those sensors, and they are so precise that this guy doesn't strike at the fish, he strikes where the fish is going to be. So these guys are lethal hunters in that dark, dank water, and these are the coolest snakes you're gonna find here.
This is actually captive bred, and this is actually overstocked from a zoo. I held on to her for 8 months, and then she gave birth to a bunch of babies.
Ryan, always a pleasure to see you.
Absolutely,
You're
man.
doing really good things here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you always have the really coolest, oddest reptiles, and I love coming over here and checking them out.
I try to make it a destination. I'll always have something weird. Always.
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 Always. Always weird and good to see you. So this is Mike at Mike's Exotics. When you talk about like the odd, kind of uncommon stuff, you can't skip Mike's table here. And right over here is why. This is a Calibar burrowing python. You're only going to find this at your table.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any other ones at the show.
I don't think so either. And these guys are so odd and so kind of strange. And they're very much like rubber boas, where look at his head here.
Yeah,
And then look at his other head here. Yeah. The only way that you can tell which one is the head and which one is the tail is those tiny little eyeballs he has right there.
Come out of here.
So where are these guys from? Tell us all about
So these guys are from West Africa. I was actually wondering, did you find any while you were there?
We did not. We looked.
Time?
They were all underground.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like the guys that are catching these are finding them in the same burrows they're finding ball pythons.
That's right.
They're kind of like a bycatch as they're out there looking for them.
Exactly.
So I keep them fairly identical to the way I keep a ball python. You know, damp cypress mulch, very similar temperature ranges, hiding spots, and they eat rats and mice. The cool thing about these guys is where a snake this size you might expect would eat like maybe a weanling rat, but in the wild, you know, they're nest raiders. So they're going to find a nest of baby mice or baby rats, and they'll eat up the whole nest at a time. So I feed them 2 or 3 like rat fuzzies, because their mouths are very small, you can see there. They don't open very wide like a lot of the boas and pythons that you're used to seeing that can eat a gigantic meal compared to the size of their body. So I'll make a little pile in the cage of little fuzzy rats, and this guy will munch them down.
These guys are amazingly awesome, and you know, they are burrowing pythons. They will burrow in, you know, whatever soil substrate you put in their enclosure, but then they do come out and they do go hunting, and it's not like a rubber boa where you put them in an enclosure and you never see them again.
Yeah, I do see these guys out and about fairly often. As not like a sand boa where you'll see just its head poking out. Like these guys do crawl around on the top of the substrate quite often. Another part of their defense mechanism is like when they're scared, say something does manage to rustle them up, they'll curl up in a ball and they'll stick up this tail that has a big, usually they'll have bright white spots on their tails, you know, varying amounts depending on, you know, each individual animal. But it's just something, a little flashy tail, looks like a head, maybe it, you know, mimics an eyeball or something. Just something to get the attention off of their more vulnerable, like real head, as opposed to getting bitten there. They'd rather have a little chunk taken out of the tail, maybe, than lose their more important parts of their body.
That is just an amazing snake. Mike, you always have the coolest stuff. Love coming to your table when I'm at expos. And we'll be back to see what else you have in another video at another expo.
Yeah, fantastic. See you there, guys.
Cool. All right, so we are at Honor Reptiles. This is Brad. You have one of the funkiest corn snakes here. Tell us all about this guy.
So this is Harvey Dent. He's an extreme Okatee. He comes out of Don Soderbergh's lineage, both mother and father.
And what is unique about this guy?
So he is a twin that didn't ever separate. So he's a chimera. He's scaleless on one side, scaled on the other.
That is insane.
Has a full twin scar up his belly.
Look at that. That is the funkiest corn snake I've ever seen. So what are the genetics on him?
So dad is an extreme Okatee that is het scaleless. Mom is out of a different line from Don Soderbergh that has no scaleless in it.
And look at that pattern on him. I mean, that almost looks like a motley pattern.
Yeah, he's definitely a really good example of an Okatee.
That is one of the funkiest corn snakes I've ever seen, and one of the oddest snakes that you're going to see here at the Dallas NARBC Expo. So guys, those are just some of the oddball reptiles that you're going to see at an NARBC Expo like this. You know, a lot of ball pythons, a lot of crested geckos, a lot of awesome stuff. But seriously, it's the oddball reptiles that we often overlook, that we don't even know are at an expo like this. So guys, from now on, every other Tuesday, you're gonna find a bonus video right here on this channel. So as always, thanks for watching, and until the next reptile adventure, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.